It's a lovely Sunday evening. Hello and welcome to News at 10 on TV3. I am Stephen Enti. Let's start with the major news highlights. Inhabitants of Cheche Kasum community in the Ibra Asebu Kwamankese district of the Central Region have returned to their community after a conflict erupted, resulting in the burning of the chief's palace. Central Regional correspondent Thomas Vincent Khan visited the community and reports calm has been restored. And residents and school children of Yachovukopa in the Sujamine district of the Eastern Region crossed the Volta Lake without life jackets. Lack of schools and other basic amenities have forced the community members to commute long hours on the lake. And the chiefs and people of Pakoso in the Asokorimampong municipality of the Ashanti region are appealing to the police administration to post personnel to the town. A new station commissioned some 6 months ago is still unoccupied. Right, so those were the major news highlights of the day. Up next is the big one. Remember, we're streaming live on our Facebook page and on 3news.com. Welcome back. This is the big one. Now, the University of Cape Coast is reported to have rusticated 22 students. This was after investigations cited them for their involvement in clashes between students of the University of Ghana and Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in March this year. The clash, which occurred during the whole week celebration of the Atlantic Hall, left 3 students seriously injured. The 22 are made up of level 100, 200, 300 and 400 students. 3 students were seriously injured in the clash between the students of University of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah University and Technology, as well as the University of Cape Coast on Friday, March 17. Let's now quickly speak with the Major Retired Kofi Ba Bintum, who is the Director of Public Affairs at the University of Cape Coast. Good evening, sir, and thank you very much for your time. So, can you confirm to us whether the 22 students have been rusticated?
Yes, I can confirm to you that 22 students from the Atlantic have been rusticated for the part they played on that day to the 17th of March with regards to the 4-week celebrations and the violence that occurred.
Now, for the benefit of our viewers, rusticated can be very tricky. Have they been dismissed or they've been suspended temporarily or indefinitely?
They have been suspended temporarily, but for different periods of time, depending on the severity of their offenses. So some will go for 2 terms, and the maximum I'm aware is 4 semesters.
Interesting. I'm happy that we clarify this. So for those who have been suspended for 4 semesters, that's more like an entire year, an entire academic year. Are they expected 2 years, I beg your pardon, 2 academic years? That's a serious matter. What could have led to this harsh punishment? I mean, we know the facts of the clashes and all of that, but what particularly made the board, the university authorities, conclude that they deserve to be off the campus for that long?
It depends on the role they played in the whole saga. But what happens is that the university, as we are here, we have our regulations which govern the way we behave on campus. So whatever you do, the punishment is already there. It is not that somebody just wakes up and thinks of fashioning out a new punishment. So what they are getting is correspondent to what is in the books, that if you do this, this is the kind of punishment you get. But specifically in their case, most of them or all of them are hall executives. And they organize the whole week celebrations. And as part of the celebrations, you have to sign an MOU, given an undertaking about the things you do and how you ensure violence-free celebrations because of certain things that had happened in the not too distant past. Now they got this clearance and they went around to do things that were contrary to what they had said they were going to do. And now what is even making it more serious is that they know the perpetrators. They also took part in the violence. And it was their responsibility to bring those people out in order to save their own head. And they have refused to do that for whatever they call hall solidarity or student solidarity. But the thing is that somebody must be punished for the wrongdoing to serve as a deterrent to others who may be thinking that way. So that is why the university gave them the maximum punishment that goes with that kind of behavior.
Interesting. So let's understand, after all the investigations were conducted, did the university come to a conclusion what may have triggered these clashes?
The main disturbances, the main findings is yet to come out, and that one is to do with the police, because as you are aware, at the point that the thing was now categorized as being criminal, and as soon as it was a criminal thing, the police took over the investigation. So it is in the hands of the police to give us the final details.
Interesting. So now moving forward, I know that when the university is faced with this level of violence, to the extent that the police has to come in, an external institution has to come in to maintain law and order, then the university might be interested in the way forward, how to ensure that whole week celebrations do not escalate into this level of violence. What measures is the university putting in place to ensure this does not happen again?
Of course, one of the ways to avoid such things in the future is to make sure that the perpetrators now
are punished,
which is the first step. And also we have embarked on a campus-wide education to sensitize our students about the need to live a violence-free life and the impact that it has on our image as a university. We are doing it on radio and using all the other media at our disposal as a university. We have posters on campus, adverts on campus radio, and all that. And also, in future, what we want to do is that hall masters will take full responsibility for the conduct of hall week. So it will not only be a student affair, even though it is the students' hall week, but then the hall master and the hall teacher must be physically involved in whatever project or whatever events that they are having from morning to evening, and also will ensure that programs don't go far into the night. It is when it gets late into the night, and people, and also the sale of alcoholic beverages and all that. Those are the things which get people to be involved in some of it.
Right. Thank you very much.
They are working on it.
Thank you very much. We're grateful. Major retired Kofi Ba Bintum, Director of Public Affairs at the University of Cape Coast. I'm Stephen Enti. This is still News at 10. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Now, 2 suspected armed robbers and 3 residents of in Jojado were gunned down in a shootout involving some criminal gangs and security agencies in the Tatale Zabzugu district of the northern region. The dead allegedly include the NDC constituency chairman. One policeman was also reportedly injured and is receiving treatment in Zabzugu Tatale Hospital. Zabzugu Hospital, I beg your pardon. One other resident is also said to be receiving treatment at the Yendi Hospital. The incident involved a daylight robbery in the area. The robbers, numbering about 6, reportedly ambushed some traders. Very gory images there. Now, President Akufo-Addo has expressed satisfaction with the outcome of his tour of the countries in the ECOWAS region, insisting it was an opportunity to reassure member states of Ghana's commitment to the ECOWAS project. The president made this known when he interacted with a Ghanaian community resident in Cape Verde as part of his 3-day tour of that country.
They reiterated the commitment of its government towards fulfilling the promises he made to Ghanaians in the run-up to the December 2016 elections. On his tour of the ECOWAS state, he was excited about the response from his colleague presidents. Meanwhile, President Akufo-Addo has since returned to Ghana. The president was met on arrival by Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and some government officials. The 6-day second phase of the ECOWAS tour saw Ghana enter into several agreements in the areas of trade, tourism, infrastructure, exploration of bauxite, among others.
No shipping lines between Ghana and Cape Verde exist. So the establishment of direct flights from Accra to Praia, the establishment of direct shipping links between our two capitals was also discussed, and to that extent, a permanent joint commission for cooperation has been established to boost the volumes of trade.
But what mechanism has government put in place to ensure Ghana benefits from these ECOWAS visits?
One thing that has been agreed on by the Minister for Foreign Affairs is that we don't want these meetings just to be meetings for meeting's sake, in the sense that we go, we meet, we talk, and then we come back. No. So what she's done is she's designated one of her deputies in the person of Charles Oredu to be in charge of these permanent joint commissions for cooperation and ensure that all these cooperations we have agreed on with our neighboring countries are enforced.
President Akufo-Addo, in the next couple of days, is expected to visit Sierra Leone and Liberia to wrap up his ECOWAS tour.
And the arrears owed by the National Health Insurance Scheme to service providers is hampering their service delivery. The providers are owed in excess of 1.2 billion cedis, I beg your pardon. Frank Toblu is Executive Director of the Health Insurance Service Providers Association, HISPAC, and is joining us on the telephone lines to have a chat on this. Good evening, sir. Thank you. So now the new CEO is assuring 2 months of arrears will be paid by the end of May. Are you satisfied with this arrangement?
Honestly, we've been hearing this over the period. The last time, if you could remember, we were told they're going to give us some amount of money, but we were only giving just a month. So indeed, if this is anything to go by, we want to see the practicality of this particular talk. We want to be sure that this is given before we'll be.
So you want the money? You want the money to touch down before you are certain that anyone is serious talking about these things?
Exactly, because if in the previous times you've said this and then you do not end up doing exactly what you have said. Now, if we talk again, we will be hesitant to take your words. So what is more important for us to see that money is paid, then we will believe exactly what you are saying.
We also know that the new CEO has been talking about challenges the scheme has been facing, and he says that they are broke Have you been made aware of the extent of brokenness of the scheme?
Yes, we've had this particular information. Even as at Friday, we had the information that the scheme is completely, let me use the word bankrupt carefully. Let me use it carefully. But you see, should that be the case of the providers? No. Now, the question is, the money that the government has been receiving on behalf of the National Health Insurance, the health insurance levy, where is it going? The amount to be transferred from SNIT to the National Health Insurance for the payment of claims, where is it? You see, now, if these monies, today, I can imagine the number of monies that accrued, as in case of health insurance levy. These monies accrued on daily basis. Where does it go? Where does it go?
I'm sure you know that these collections are all deposited in the consolidated account, so that the argument many people have made is that if the NHIA had its own fund where all the collections go and it can be used to now resolve financial challenges facing the NHIS without the money going into government coffers, that will help. Have you had such discussions with authorities of the health insurance scheme to suggest that way forward this is the best?
Good. Now, if you take a critical look at the NHIA Act, the Health Insurance Act, it is stated categorically clear that there should be a health insurance fund account. Now, into which all these monies that are received are supposed to be paid. Now, again, if that is not done directly, and money is collected on behalf of an organization and paid into a consolidated fund. Now, the amount that is collected on behalf of NHIA and paid into consolidated fund is noted. For instance, it is not that you just take money and dump into it without knowing how much belongs to NHIA. Consolidated fund receives money from all sort of, places. You understand? The monies collected in terms of taxes also go into the consolidated fund. The GRA monies collected, all sorts of money are paid into it. But at the end of the day, the demarcations are clearly stated that this amount in the consolidated fund belongs to NHIS. This amount in the consolidated fund belongs to GRA. This one belongs to this. This belongs to this. So what is important that you have to do as an institution is that you write a check relating to the amount belonging to the NHIA and hand it over, and then they will then use it to pay the providers. But let me be very frank in this case. What normally happens is that when these monies are paid into the consolidated fund, they end up spending it on some other things, hoping that they will pay it later to the health insurance. That is why health insurance in this challenge.
Right.
You see, that is the situation the health insurance finds itself. And we want to say that the health insurance fund account should be operationalized. It's been dormant since the beginning of the health insurance in this country. That fund account has not been operationalized.
Right.
That is where we have this challenge happening.
Mr. Tobulu, we're grateful for your time this evening. Thank you very much. I know that there is still a lot of work for your organization to do in order to get your money that is due you. Let's move away from that. The Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISA, says government interventions fail to make impact due to the non-reliance on research data. Speaking at the launch of a new tax benefit micro-simulation model at Legon, Vice Dean of Graduate School, Professor Robert Darkwose, insists ISA and other research agencies have credible research findings that are usually ignored.
Ghana, like other developing countries, is now building up its social protection system. The financing of public spending will need to be increasingly based on domestic tax revenues. It is therefore important to understand the system-wide impact of different policy choices. However, experts say government policies over the years have been based on beliefs rather than on scientific research.
Sometimes it's sad, but we like collecting data every now and then all of them have useful information about this country. So why can't we base our policy formulation on the data we have?
A major research project and a tax benefit microsimulation models have been developed for selected developing African countries, including Ghana, by the Euromod team at the Institute for Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISE. Currently, Ghana and other 6 countries are implementing the new policy in addition to those that already exist.
It is not just enough in today's policy-making arena to undertake policies without such models which informs the decisions that we make. At least note that once we make a choice, that choice is based on not just our feeling per se, but it is also based on facts.
GAMOD allows for representative results where policies are simulated based on updated household-level data.
But this is a necessary step for the policymakers to be able to make informed decisions, because if the model wasn't there, then they wouldn't be able to do it. There's no guarantee that the policymakers will do informed decisions, even though they have that information available.
GAMOD is highly versatile, yet easy to use tool and able to predict accurate outcome of a particular policy direction.
And a middle-aged woman was shot dead at Alavanyo, Okpeme in the early hours of Saturday, May 20. The deceased, identified as Elizabeth Anku, was said to have been shot on her farm by unknown assailants. This brings to 5 the number of people killed within the Alavanyo Nkonya area in less than a month.
The deceased, Elizabeth Anku, reportedly went to the farm in the early hours of the day, about just 100 meters away from her house, to pick mangoes. The unknown assailants, believed to have laid ambush in the area, opened fire, killing her. Her death comes on the heels of a renewed communal crisis in the Nkonya Alavanyo area exactly a month ago, resulting in 4 deaths. The Alavanyo Nkonya crisis began as a land dispute in 1923, but the happenings currently could be described as criminals rather than land disputes. The assailants are using guerrilla war tactics to kill innocent people in their homes, farms and other places away from the disputed land.
So they need to tackle this problem, and then we'll move forward as a nation. We should adopt a different strategy.
We need to educate. Education is the best. So I think when they go to the youth in the community and tell them this is the reason why we are looking for peace, I don't think there'll be a much problem.
The paramount queen of Bole and president of Northern Regional Association of Queens, Kansawuche, is at a loss over the current development at Nkonya and Alavanyo.
Our enemy in Ghana is poverty and disease. Our enemy is ignorance, and not against ourselves. So I advise the youth to put down their arms and all the preparations they are always making, instigating each other to fight, to stop, and so that development can really come to us.
The Bole Queen, who is also the secretary to the National House of Queens, Kansawuche, wants chiefs and queens to take up the issue, says the state appears to be losing control.
And it is estimated that Ghana records 3.5 million cases of malaria every year. A medical counsellor, Daniel Nana Appiah, has therefore charged government to reintroduce sanitation inspectors, popularly called saman, to curb the disease.
Malaria prevalence in rural Ghana was 37.7% and 15% in urban Ghana. This reduced economic growth by 1.3% and takes about 40% public health expenditure. The prevalence among children ranged from 11.2% in the Greater Accra region to 40% in the Northern region. Again, malaria was a common disease diagnosed among over 300 residents from Kwabenya and its environs who went through medical screening organized by the Pentecost International Worship Center, IPWC. For the medical team, the alarming rate at which residents contract malaria must be a concern to the government.
The first thing I will ask the government to do is to bring back what we call sanitary inspection team which was there some years back, where we call it tankers. They come there and make sure the community is clean, the environment is clean, because you get mosquitoes which lead to the malaria when your community is not clean.
The Pentecost International Worship Center IPWC medical outreach team also screened residents to ascertain their sugar level, blood group, eye screening, and provided basic medicines where necessary.
This is one of the many activities that we lined up for the month of evangelism. We're doing in conjunction with the church's medical outreach team as well as the men's fellowship to get people in this community to know their health status, and where we can help, we provide medication, and if not, we give them prescriptions to go to the hospitals to do that.
And that's it for News at 10. On behalf of the crew, good night. There is more news at 3news.com. Thanks for making time.